Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to talk to some of the driving forces behind the DFW Press and Media Club. Next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
So some 20 plus years ago, I was a proud board member of the DFW Press Club, and it's an iconic organization. They went on hiatus for a few years, but now they're back, and they've renamed themselves the DFW Press and Media Club. And I have an all-star panel talking about that today, and I'll introduce each of you in a second. But I want to talk about the mission and ministry of this. And so, JoAnne, let's start with you, because you've been there since day one.
Yeah.
Tell us what the DFW Press and Media Club is all about.
We were initially, before restarting, the Press Club of Dallas, but we are now officially the DFW Press and Media Club. For Fort Worth and for all of Dallas, we wanted to bring together all press, journalists, PR, everybody in media, including citizen journalists, influencers, because we see that there's a gap in integrity in the market, and to allow a stabilized and conjoined front for everybody in journalism and in press. That is the main goal.
Yes, and the media is changing. I mean, when I was in the media, it was, print, radio, television, and now it's influencers, it's, podcasters, it's kind of all of the above. I want to bring Tommy Cummings into the conversation, veteran journalist, both with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram and Dallas Morning News. So you've been in the media for how many years?
40 years. It's been a long time.
Wow.
I worked here 13 years at the Star-Telegram and 13 at the Morning News. And I took a buyout at the Morning News last year, where I was the arts and entertainment breaking news reporter. Yes. And since then, to fill my time, I created this similar media get together. We call it round table at square tables, because where we meet there's square tables and we put them all together.
Yes.
And so I've had several guests, and we meet quarterly. Mm-hmm. We're going to meet November 4th. We'll have Dave Lieber, one of your former guests.
Yes.
We'll have Randy Brooks, the man who wrote Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. He lives over in East Dallas, and he'll be our entertainment for the event. And so it's free. We had about 50 last time. We had Tonnell Hobbs, investigative reporter for the New York Times. She was there. And we had Mac Engel from the Star-Telegram. He's kind of a longtime sports columnist and kind of a universal man of media here in North Texas.
Right. Staying with you for a minute, Tommy, I see the press is kind of in a fluctuation period where, the people who used to read the Fort Worth Star-Telegram or the Dallas Morning News every single day, they may get their media from, TikTok or Instagram. So what do you see the role of both your club and our club doing to further the goals of journalism?
I think that what we want to do in our mission statement was, create a networking opportunity, because a lot of our older, mature journalists have a lot of institutional knowledge. And as I've found out through these roundtables that we've had, there are a lot of younger journalists craving this knowledge. And so my thought is to bring them together. We have podcasters, influencers, whatnot, to interact with these people who've been in the business longer than I have. 40 years is a long time, but some have been in there for longer. And, we've already had some success stories. We've had James Faust with the Dallas International Film Festival working with Claire St. Amand. She is a book author and was a producer for 60 Minutes and 48 Hours. And so she wrote a book. And so she has, through their interaction, they set up a deal with Texas Monthly. Texas Monthly buys ideas.
Yes.
So Claire has been working with them. And we've had other success stories of people networking. And this is what it's all about. And the biggest thrill I get is from somebody saying that, oh, I met somebody at your roundtable and we're working together now on something.
Yes.
And so that, that shows it worked. That keeps me fighting for another one. So keep doing it.
I love that. We're going to pull up the Press Club website so we can see. They have an upcoming event. It's coming up on Wednesday, September 17th from 5:30 to 8. It's at 12 Cuts, which is in North Dallas. I love the way we're bringing like new voices into the conversation, because when I was a board member 20 plus years ago, it was all about, print, radio, television, but there are new voices. And so I'm going to have the privilege of moderating a panel, and Johnathan Brownlee is going to be on the show, and he's a award-winning filmmaker. So, and you have a book at your
Yeah, no, I was just going to say I'm a voracious reader of the Dallas Morning News and New York Times and other, reputable, member of NPR,
Yes.
so I'm always looking for story ideas, and many of those come out of the press. So it's really important that for me as a storyteller, as a writer,
Yes.
that I've got, good quality news and things that really stir my interest. This one, for example, Twisted Retribution, which we are making into a film, is written by Donna Arp-Weitzman. And it's a Texas story, very raw and gritty, female vigilante named Sarah Sears, but again, a writer here in North Texas, Donna Arp-Weitzman, who's this is now, I guess, in the top 1% of Amazon books. So we're working on that right now.
Which is incredible. Chonnie Richey, good friend, a friend of the show, Independence Gardens.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about Independence Gardens, and then you're going to be a part of this event coming up here in a couple days.
I am. So Independence Gardens is a nonprofit based here in Dallas. And what we do is we provide fresh food access to kids. And it feels like it's a disconnect with the Press Club, but it actually is not, because I feel like organizations like the Media and Press Club is really a conduit to local organizations like nonprofits to really have a voice in how they impact our communities. And I think one of the missions of the organization of the Media Press Club is to really bring that tangible, honest truth that I think it's missing in media right now. And so there is a lot of conversations with how my children get their news right now, and it's TikTok. That is literally how they get their news. And whether or not it's will or not, that is how they ingest everything that they see. And I feel like organizations like this that can bring the voices of the wisdom, not the old, the wisdom and the new, is valuable and important. And so, and me being part of this organization and serving as part of the membership committee, I get an opportunity to meet amazing individuals like on this panel today, but also know that there are champions, right? And so that for organizations like Independence Gardens and other nonprofit organizations, that they do have a conduit to media that can get their mission out.
Yes. We're going to show some video from a previous event, and I want to bring you back on, JoAnne, to talk about the energy, because I was so impressed from day one. Shout out to Tammy Stern and others who started this thing back up again. I think we had 100 people at our first event, and it just keeps growing. So there's a thirst for connectivity. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who try to do all their networking online, and you actually have to be there in person. Talk about that.
I'm very proud of the energy that we have at our events, primarily because I see it as a torch being passed. I'm very proud and very happy to be surrounded about people who have a long-standing careers, who have so much influence within Dallas and so much influence within the United States, and then to have younger individuals there that are thirsty to learn.
Yes.
The conversations that each of the panels have been wonderful. So I'm happy to see where we're going to go with everything.
Absolutely. Let's just talk about practicing journalism. Even in the film world, Johnathan, it's important to accurately portray, events. And so as a filmmaker, you're telling stories, just as journalists tell stories, but you're doing it in a different way. But you can't take too many dramatic licenses and like create fiction on a real story. So talk about your role and why it's important that filmmakers get involved.
Sure. I mean, a perfect example of that right now is we're working on a series about Will Rogers, arguably one of the greatest Americans of the last century. And, he was a great columnist and journalist himself, and would, write, and almost 40 million Americans out of 100 million Americans read, his column every day. And so that material is all stored in the Will Rogers Memorial Museum in Claremore, Oklahoma. Most of that has not been scanned. And so, the importance of going and looking at original source material so that we can get this story right, because, there's a lot of lore about Will Rogers, an amazing man, but what really is the truth as far as we can find it, through historical records. So, the researching and finding and reading and is really, really important to our method of telling story.
Yes. And there's so many different ways to reach the public these days. You can be an influencer and you can have a large audience, but unless you're telling the truth, unless you're giving them value, you don't grow an audience. So maybe going back to you, Tommy, talk about how the new media is playing a role in the way people tell their stories.
Yeah, I wanted to say to Johnathan, too, when I was 8 years old, I used to wander over to the Will Rogers Museum. My grandparents were in the hospital across the street, and so I would, I was too young to go up to their room, so I would just wander around, and I ended up at the museum. And Will Rogers, I'm Native American, and so Will Rogers was
Cherokee.
Yeah, was very important to me. Now, back to your question, Jeff, I think, journalism really doesn't change as far as the passion. And so the passion of the older journalists who've gone through they've sustained the battles, and
Yes.
they've gone the distance. But having worked at the Morning News and the Star Telegram, I've noticed a lot of interns and young journalists who carry that same kind of passion.
Yes.
And so I think the only thing is the platforms change. And that is where maybe the older journalists need to learn from them, and the younger journalists need to learn about the institutional knowledge from the older journalists. And, when you combine those two, I think there's a wonderful handoff for, sustaining quality journalism.
Well, I think it's how information is delivered. I mean, we all remember when Blockbuster was the behemoth, and then Netflix came along, and Blockbuster didn't really recognize the power of the changing nature of how information is shared. So bringing you back into this, Johnathan, people need to embrace the new media, don't they?
I think they do. I mean, I think, anytime you can be educated and learn, no matter what the delivery method of that is, I think is really, really important. It does then obviously speak to organizations like this, who are sort of training the next generation of storytellers, and to make sure that the information we are getting through those channels is valid and as honest and truthful as it can be at the moment. We all know stories change over time, as new information comes, and the ability to move with that and move with the story as it changes, I think is really, really important.
Absolutely. And one of the things I'm passionate about, because we have a podcast network here, and Chonnie, you have a very popular podcast on our network. It's allowing you to tell your own story and interview your own guests. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about the show that you do with us and how that helps you become the new media.
So The Giver is all about featuring the stories of those individuals that give to nonprofits and organizations, and it's really understanding why they give, right? And so there are so many nonprofits out there and so many organizations. It's really that connection that I think is valuable. And so when we have a media like The Giver and the podcast, it gives us a chance to tell our story, where we want to go, what our mission is, but also give a platform for those individuals that may stay behind the scenes. Yes. And I think the value of this organization, Media and Press Club, is there's just no judgmental anywhere at all in it. And so it really just brings the voices in. Yes. and give the younger non-traditional media a chance to give their voice and kind of communicate to the older ones on why they're doing what they're doing. And so, yes. And I think that there is an opportunity for us to all collectively connect. It's really all about the connection, right? And I feel like we feel like we're so connected because of social media, but really at the end of the day, we're so disconnected because of the lack of information or the value of the truth of whatever it's coming out. And whenever you have, and I'm all about virtual networking, but whenever you have organizations that actively will open up their doors and welcome anyone with a voice to say, come and see what we're doing, come and see what you can learn. There's the mentorship opportunity specifically for members, and there's chances to learn stories from even from what JoAnne does when it comes to social media. But it's valuable. And so what our podcast does is it gives us a chance to really vocalize what we're doing. And I can learn a lot to how to do a story, and I can learn a lot how to do it accurately. I think that's the impact. And I think one of the things that we've heard over and over again in the two meetings that we've had is there is an absolute need for telling how we can tell the truth and really help these non-traditional media influencers or podcasters understand the value of truth, right? And so, and with AI, with all of the information coming so readily available now, we have to pause. Mm-hmm. And I think Vince said it the best. Sometimes we don't have time to pause to kind of check the value of that. But that's, I think, if we can get that nugget to them and figure out how to give them that pause, I think you're going to have such a powerful way that we can actually get information out to the public.
Yes. One thing that impressed me the most, because Dale Hansen has been a part of several of our events so far, and I mean, he's come from the mountaintop of Channel 8 and, Emmy Awards and Peabody Awards and the highest awards of journalism. But I noticed that when I was interviewing Dale for a panel a couple of months ago, he checked his ego at the door. It wasn't, I'm Dale Hansen, formerly of Channel 8. JoAnne, the energy is very accepting, isn't it?
Yes. I was not expecting it to be as accepting as it is. Dale is wonderful, and the thoughts and insights that he gave that evening, I'm extremely grateful for. He was very open to the younger generation. He was very open to the shifts in media, even to the point in telling other members that were there that, hey, something does have to give on both ends. Nobody's essentially at fault.
And we can all learn something from somebody else. I mean, Tommy, bringing it back to you, I know there's a knock on Gen Z. I mean, we've all heard it. Okay, Gen Z's entitled. We gave them a trophy for showing up. But veteran journalists can learn something from the influencer who has 1 million followers, can't they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm bringing it back to the DFW Media Club and our event. There's nothing more refreshing than looking over the crowd when they hear a veteran journalist and a younger person absorbing it, and you can look at the passion and the excitement in their eyes of, hey, this guy has this person has credibility. Mm-hmm. Yes. And to me, that's the payoff for what I'm doing. And then, I've had a long career, and this is very rewarding. I feel like I'm kind of giving back finally.
Yes.
And so I wanted to put a plug in for the Society of Professional Journalists. They are our sponsor. They buy our sandwiches for the event, and everyone's invited to come. It's in Mansfield. Our next one's November 4th.
I love that. I love that. We have a few minutes left, so I want each of the panelists to go down the line and just give, a minute on why people need to get involved. Chonnie, you want to start?
Yeah, you know what? We talk about Gen Z, and I think what they're going to bring to the table is the language. Is they're going to help bridge that language that we don't understand, right? And so, being part of the press club really gives an opportunity not only for mentorship specifically, but we have chances for not networking. That is the most valuable thing that you guys can get out of this, because we're bringing in these amazing voices that in any reality or world you will never get, and so. Be part of that organization, and they bring a lot of value to that. And so I'm really excited to kind of see what we're going to be doing in the future, specifically in the social media world.
Awesome. JoAnne, final thoughts.
Please, before everything, I do want everybody to, we can find us on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, the DFW Press and Media Club. And I want people to know that they can get involved in any way, shape, or form. Whether you're older, younger, it doesn't matter. We accept all, and we want the future of press, the future of media, and the future of PR to have integrity. Yeah.
Johnathan.
Yeah, no, I think it's great coming at it from a writer and storyteller perspective. I think it's really important that we continue to lift up new voices, but also to understand that there is a craft to this, and that it does take hard work and thoughtfulness to really mine good stories. And I think organizations like this can remind us of that, and also help train the next generation of great writers and storytellers.
Outstanding. Tommy, you get the final word.
Well, thank you. Yes, I like he said, the storytelling is paramount. We've brought in Brad Leland. You've interviewed him, and Brad told us a bunch of stories about the industry. Jody Dean, who now builds sets for Taylor Sheridan, he has come in. Both these guys have been longtime friends of mine, and they've come in and they have talked about their life experiences, and those are stories. They're storytellers. Yes. And then we'll have, like I said, Dave Lever coming in, and he might be the master storyteller. He has a lot of knowledge about how to actually instruct people on how to tell a story. And I'm going to pitch that to our younger Gen Zs to say, listen to him and learn, the art of storytelling. And I think that's what we have to sustain.
Outstanding. You guys have been amazing. Thank you all for coming on the show. We're going to end with the website, which is dfwpressandmediaclub.org. And again, the event is Wednesday, September 17th from 5:30 to 8 at 12 Cuts in North Dallas. Guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.